Thank you guys for joining us on today's episode of Unemployable Podcast. We have Lola, also known as Glitter Poops, joining us today. Thank you.
Hey.
Special guest. Special guest.
Have you ever worked in an office?
Mm-mm.
That's probably why.
It probably is why.
Cam worked at Dunkin' Donuts.
Wait. We already established this. We all did.
Yeah, I did
All
too.
1, 2, 3.
With the Duncan boys.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, when I showed up at
boys.
my apprenticeship, my resume said Dunkin' Donuts.
You had a resume?
I didn't have a resume.
What is that?
No, actually, I was in college, really just selling drugs, and my girlfriend at the time was like, "You're a fucking loser. Like, you should do a real thing." And like to her, a real thing was like be a tattoo artist, you know. So she asked her tattoo artist if he would mentor me, and I like showed up, and I was able to like hold it together enough for like an interview, and he gave me a chance, and that's when it all started.
That sounds nice. Sounds easy.
It was, and I got fired 9 months in for
what?
drugs. And then I came to Florida, and then no one wanted to take like someone that had done 5 silhouette tattoos, you know? So I found this guy, Vince, in Hollywood, who worked at Silver on the Mount. He's like this old mean biker. Mm-hmm. And he's like, well, I'll give you an apprenticeship. And I was like, oh, because I already did one, you know, I didn't want to do one again, but it was kind of like my only chance. So I was like, all right. So I did another one for like a year, and then I got fired from that one too. And then I was like, damn. And then I gave up for like 4 months because I was like, maybe I just wasn't meant to be a tattoo artist. So I was like painting houses, which sucked. And then I was like, fuck this. I went to a job fair, I think, in this shop on Southwest 8th Street, which was like a half smoke shop, half tattoo shop. It was like, yo, we'll give you a chance. So I was like, oh, okay, you know? And they're like, are you a tattoo artist? And I'm like, yes, you know? Because I'd done like 15 tattoos. That counts. Yeah. So I went on Google and I printed out a bunch of tattoos that weren't mine, and I put it in a portfolio, and I was like, look. And they're like, you're
You have to respect the hustle.
yeah, and then I made it work kind of for like a year.
Yeah.
What was your first job?
My first shop was one in Hialeah. It was a walk-in shop named Major League.
Okay.
So you went straight into tattoos? No Dunkin' Donuts?
No. I did my
backwards.
apprenticeship there for a year, and then I stayed there for another 3.
What did that apprenticeship look like? Because you said it was 9 years ago?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like 2013, 14.
Yeah.
It was just like a lot of free labor.
Yeah.
A lot of drawing for the artists, a lot of like managing the front desk, cleaning, answering phones.
Right.
Basically.
So how old are you like day one?
Oh man, maybe like 23, 24.
Right. So how'd you get the opportunity, or did you just walk into the shop?
So it was really funny. I had quit my retail job. Like I went crazy and I'm like, I can't do this anymore.
Okay.
And I bailed.
She's better than us, Kim. She was doing retail. We were Dunkin' Donuts.
I had a bunch of stuff. Oh, there we go.
It's a good guy. Sing.
Hi. Yeah,
Wow,
that's
that's
good.
good.
So I bailed on my retail job, and I had a bunch of
Like just quit.
yeah.
All
I
in.
just couldn't.
Yeah.
I had it. It's done. It was eating me up from the inside. Like it was just killing me. So I quit. I liquidated like my ESOP. I had stocks in the company.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of money when I left as like a severance. And I just went and I traveled everywhere. And when I came back, I had like $73
Right.
in my bank
Nice.
account.
All or nothing. So you're like,
And
I'm just going to travel for fun.
Yeah, I want to
Yeah.
travel and see the world and, you know, just pick up a lot of inspiration. So when I got back, I moved back into my mom's house and I started painting and posting my art on Instagram. And I don't know how this guy found me, but he was a tattoo artist in North Carolina that originally lived in Miami.
Gotcha.
And he said, hey, your art is really good. Like, have you ever considered a career in tattoos? And I love tattoos. I had been like drawing on my friends with Sharpies since middle school.
Yeah.
So it made sense in a way, but
So you had
I never
considered
considered
it.
it.
Oh, you
I
didn't?
never considered
Oh, okay.
it. And then it just kind of clicked when he said that. I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm not doing anything. I'm not going to get a regular job.
Right.
I'm fucked. Let me just see where this goes. How do you start? And he asked me where I was from. I told him I was in Miami. And he's like, hey, I know a shop in Hialeah. I know the owner. Go over there, talk to Mikey. Let him know I sent you. Ask him for an apprenticeship. Take a bunch of your drawings.
So he was just kind of being nice to you.
Yeah, he was being
That's
super
pretty
nice.
cool.
He
You
was
still in
being super
contact
cool.
with him?
He's around. I haven't spoken to him in a few years, but we're still good.
That's cool.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I
because
went-
most of the time I feel like people have an agenda. It sounds like he didn't. Like, yo, hey, I'm just looking out.
Yeah,
Right.
I think he just saw the potential, and
That's
I'm so
cool.
glad he did. Because otherwise, I don't know what I would have done.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
Did you do any like
Fucking
drawing prior to quitting the retail job?
Yeah, since my first memory is drawing since like Cuba.
Yeah, which is where you're from, correct?
Yeah,
And then when did you move over here?
1998. So I was like 7 years old.
Cool. And then Miami ever since.
Miami, Hialeah, which is basically North Cuba. So it's
Yeah, that's
still
Right. Went from south to north.
yeah.
But so tell me about the apprenticeship, because obviously Cam finished an apprenticeship not too long ago, and I feel like there are major differences between, you know, when you and I might have done it 10 years ago to now, maybe some similarities.
Totally.
But like you walk in, obviously it's intimidating, right?
Yeah, it definitely was. I think there weren't even any girls at the shop at that time.
Yeah.
When I walked in, it was just the owner and all his like male artists, which looked pretty scary because they were like fully tattooed.
Right.
You know. But I went with my little sketchbook, man, and
You're
just
like, "I'm
a
ready."
big smile. And I'm like, hey, man, you know, like I was recommended here by Carlos. He said that maybe you would consider me for an apprenticeship if you liked my art. So he basically sat me down and explained to me what an apprenticeship was. And he's like, free labor, you got to be here from 12 to 10 p.m. And you got to answer the phones, you got to clean. Like, you basically can't even touch a tattoo machine until I say you're ready. And then when you are able to start tattooing, you have to buy all your own shit. But, you know, you don't get paid as an apprentice, so it was kind of
Well, what do you think when you were hit with that?
I was like, well, I'm not going to be working anyway, so
Right.
might as well do the labor for free, get in the industry, you know, just tough it out.
Were you looking at your $73 like,
I was looking at my $73 trying to see how I could make that into like enough to buy a tattoo machine,
Yeah.
materials, like.
yeah.
Plus I was living with my parents, didn't have to worry about rent, but I didn't have a car. So what I would do is I would tell my friends, hey, like when I was finally able to tattoo, if you like give me a drive, if you
Yes.
give me a ride,
Yes.
I got you with the fucking tattoo, man.
Yeah. That's
And-
the fucking move.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was just like a lot of hard work, a lot of grit. I'm glad I went through it,
Right.
but that's not realistic today. Let's be real.
How was
It's
your
really
parents
not.
when you told them you wanted to be a tattoo artist?
Oh my god. Oh my god.
I bring you to the free land. This is what you want to do.
Yeah, that was like the worst thing I could have said to them. They said I was gonna end up homeless, that I only wanted to tattoo because I could smoke weed.
Well, they
said
can
I
tell the
was-
future because that's pretty much.
Yeah. But I get it. Like, we come from a place where artists, like, that is a last resort thing
Yeah.
for them, you know? So, like, I get their mentality. Doesn't mean that it's right. But I did it anyway. And, yeah, here we are.
Yeah, yeah.
Bet they're glad I did.
Wouldn't change a thing.
Nah.
But I remember waking up with like borderline anxiety attacks every day. Like, I need to get to work early. You know, I need to open the shop. I need to make my mentor proud. I didn't want to get like yelled at,
Yeah.
you know, by him. And I was 20, you know, pretty much same age, no life experience, just trying to figure it out, you know,
Pretty much.
and like do my best. And at the time I had no skills, you know, so I was trying to do my best with no skills. I think my baseline at the time was like a bad person too. So like that was my moral compass was like off. So like trying to like make that work or whatever. And then when I actually started doing paid tattoos, I was living in Plantation and working on Southwest 8th Street. So that was like 40 minutes away at least.
Yeah, that's a long drive.
And I didn't have a car. So I did what you did. Like I'd be like, first off, I'd do a tattoo for any price.
I get
you know? Like if you could drive me there and you were willing to pay $33, I'll fucking
That's a
tattoo
win.
you the whole
I
day.
would imagine back then the minimum was like 20.
If that,
Yeah.
yeah. My minimum was like $1, you know, in a ride, and maybe a Monster as a
Lunch.
tip.
Yeah.
But you know, because when you're doing your apprenticeship, for whatever reason, for me, like it didn't feel like I had the guarantee that I would be tattooing at the end.
Yeah.
It always seemed like a maybe kind of thing. Like if you work really hard, if you obey all the things I do, and you put up with my abuse,
Right.
I might let you tattoo, right? So I didn't feel like there was this guaranteed light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
Like when they come in now, or when Cam comes in now, does his apprenticeship, like I'm like, you will be tattooing in a year and a half. That's the whole point. You're here is to learn how to tattoo. For whatever reason, I felt like back then it was like, they're like, I don't give a fuck if you tattoo.
But they really didn't.
Right. Yeah, they really did. Yeah. They're like,
They
I just
really
want
didn't.
free labor. Hopefully you
Yeah.
don't cost me too much money in your mistakes.
But I also get it, because I feel like back then tattooing was more exclusive, like who could learn.
Yeah.
So you really had to put up with a lot of shit to show them that you value like what they have to teach.
Do you think we're going to see that in the generations to come?
No,
Like, do
sir.
you think
I
that,
don't know.
well, this is what I mean. Like those who made it 10 years ago, 20 years ago, you know, have this level of commitment to the craft. Do you think we're going to see this new wave of lack of commitment, which will hurt the industry?
I mean, just by saying that there's tattoo artists with no tattoos shows you just
Yeah.
how their lack of commitment is going to
Yeah.
affect the industry, you know? And that's a big part of it.
I feel like a rite of passage was getting fucked up tattoos by all your coworkers when you were an
Yeah,
apprentice.
it definitely was. Tattooing yourself is also like a big
Yeah.
one. You have to
Yeah.
know what that feels like.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I have seen more and more artists without tattoos.
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, I'm 21. I'm getting like I already have a leg that's almost done. I don't personally like. I agree with Lola. Like, if you don't have any tattoos, it's like how many times
There's
do you
a
get like
disconnect there.
yeah? How
I'm
many
not saying
times
you
do you
can't
like
be-
get a client that's like, hey, you're about to tattoo him on a spot, and they're like, how does this feel? And like, if
Exactly.
you don't have that spot tattooed, you're like, well, my boy said it hurt.
Yeah.
Like, I'd look at my artist like, what? Like, you don't know?
Because there are some pretty amazing artists out there that don't have tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I know that was like a thing recently, going back and forth on the internet about a couple of them, like what people thought. And I went into the comments and I was like, it seemed, you know, people from both sides were coming out.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I don't think that matters. Or like, no, I think that matters.
Yeah.
I think that's fucked.
It's definitely a disconnect from the culture of the industry, but I don't think you necessarily have to have tattoos to be a good artist.
Yeah.
I personally have an artist in my shop with no tattoos, and he's great.
Yeah.
You know, it's his personal choice, and you just have to respect it, but there will always be that disconnect.
Yeah.
He has like none, like not even like one
none,
small one.
None.
Yeah.
And I've been on him, like, at least tattoo yourself once.
Yeah.
He doesn't
No.
want any?
Nah, he doesn't.
Huh. Everyone here has tattoos, right?
Yeah. It's kind of like, for me walking into the shop, it's kind of hard to say no to some of the artists if they offer me a tattoo.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like it's almost kind of disrespectful maybe too.
I think I felt like that as an apprentice.
Yeah. Or it's like, I have Nate.
Because I even got tattooed by
Yeah.
some artists I didn't want to get tattooed by.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Me
definitely.
also. Like, I've had
Oh, yeah? Who?
we've all like been down there, but like have an artist like Nate, who's like a 12-year artist, and one of my opinion, like one of the most underrated color artists in South Florida. And he's like, yo, let me do a leg sleeve on you, which is upwards of, like 20 grand realistically.
Mm-hmm.
And if I were to say no to that,
Right.
it's like some people would kill for that opportunity almost. And
absolutely
it's like,
would.
now
But
I'm
that's
being-
easy to say yes to.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, because Nate's like, you're like, oh, she would do a leg sleeve.
Yeah, the hardest part is it
But I mean,
fucking
like,
hurts.
Yeah, but like I have apprentice bangers on me, like I let her name, who shall not be spoken, tattoo
Yo,
me.
but I love,
Baltimore?
I love the apprentice bangers.
Me too. And I can't wait for Nate to cover them, but
Yeah.
I have 3 or 4 apprentice bangers on me, so I know what it's like to get a couple bad tattoos.
You haven't tattooed me, right?
No.
Yeah, like when you put your trash work on me, I'll never cover it and
Yeah.
I'll love it forever.
Yeah, like I have Adrian's on the back of my leg that I'll cherish. Like, it's
Yeah.
not the best,
Dude,
but I'll
I
cherish it.
fucking love Adrian.
Yeah, me too. Like the tattoos, like man, but the person it's connected to is like I'll appreciate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when I get tattooed now, I feel like I go to the artist. And like typically I pick them because I like 90% of the work they're putting out. And I'm like, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Because for me, at this point, at least for me, it's about just getting something from that artist.
Right. I feel
And
the
like,
same.
and I want their best version.
Yeah.
You know, so whatever you're into, I don't know. And like, I'll tell people that and it'll like make sense to them, like clients wise. Most of the time it makes sense to artists. And then some clients are like, that doesn't make sense. Like, what if you don't like what they choose? And I'm like, well, it's not about that. I just want,
Yeah,
you know, a
and
tattoo
sometimes,
from
like,
them.
And the ending tattoo looks like way different than the stencil or like
Yeah.
the design you really see. Like anything Nate's ever showed me, like by the time it's tattooed and done, it looks completely different than like
Yeah.
what he showed me. It's just trust him, really.
Bro, Nate tattooed my leg the other day, and halfway through, someone's like, what are you getting? I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
We'll see it when it's
Someone's
done.
like,
I
"Yo, what'd
guess.
you add this time?" I was like, "I'm not
Yeah.
sure. It just hurt."
Yeah, it's on the back of my leg. I can't see it. So.
I just know he's covering
Do you
something.
you get tattooed often?
Yeah, I do.
What's your process like with that?
I just show up.
yeah,
Yeah.
I show up and
I feel like
I get ready
if you know
for
who
it.
you're getting tattooed by, you kind of know what to expect, and it's
Yeah.
like,
I got tattooed by Dan here
That's right.
yeah.
like about a month and a half ago. And it was the knee. And I just showed up. He had the stencil ready and we went with it.
It
Yeah,
was
like
the-
you know he's doing like the weird mandala kind of things right now. They're
Yeah.
cool. You just like, yo, whatever you
You
got,
just
run
don't
it.
question it. If you like the
Yeah.
artist's work, you just
Exactly.
show up and get tattooed.
And you
You're gonna love
usually
it.
get the best tattoo that way. Yeah.
What about you, Danny, as a non-tattoo artist?
No. There's this kid, young apprentice kid, who was tattooing my leg. He did a coffin. And, a police doctor, and he looked right when we were done. He just did the lines, and he said, "This is gonna be sick when I fill it in." That was like a year ago. Oh my God. Everyone else is doing firework.
Yeah, it's like one of my 15th, like one of my earliest tattoos. It's just the lines.
Yeah, it's been so long.
Yeah, it has been so long.
So
like
long.
it was like one of the first pieces he threw on his leg when he got here because he didn't really have any leg. And now Danny's leg is like sick.
Yeah, well, I didn't think too much. So one of our artists here, Ramel, he broke his hand, and for a while he was trying to practice with his left hand. So I let him do 2 coffins that kind of made a heart kind of thing. He actually killed it for like someone using their left hand.
That was really
Yeah.
nice of you.
It looks, yeah, it was tiny. And then Cam did it probably 2 weeks later, and it's another coffin. I'm like, I didn't think this shit out. Now there are 3 coffins in a space this
Oh yeah, because the tattoo he did was like a double coffin already.
little heart coffin.
But you just kind of, do you like say, hey, whatever you want? Because some artists like a little direction. You know?
I mean, everyone that I've talked to,
I feel like it's always like that. You give them like subject matter. Like with Nate, I was like, yo, I want something with statues and graffiti, but like whatever statues and graffiti you want, you do it. It's just
Yeah,
that's
you
just
pick
like
a theme.
Yeah, like Oscar with my leg. I was like, I want a creepy girl. And that was
Yeah.
it. It's like I didn't tell him like if I wanted like a specific position, anything like
Same.
specific with it. It was just creepy girl. And whatever you came up with, I was gonna get it.
yeah, normally when I go to an artist, I already respect their work. Kind of like how you said. Like, I'm just like creative freedom. Like Katie did this cool marionette, like dead girl on
Yeah,
there.
I think sick.
Yeah.
But there's no way I would have been able to like come up with something like that.
Never. I just
Yeah.
showed her like references.
Yeah.
I always get nervous. Like, say Oscar and Denise, phenomenal artists from Mexico, they did this collaboration piece on my thigh, and it's such a big space. And like, they kept showing me some designs where I'm like, I like it. But then I realized, I should be a lot more vocal because I'm sure you guys want to hear that more. You guys want us to get something, and what they came up with was beautiful, and I love it, and I appreciate them both. But they actually were supposed to continue going down my leg, and they couldn't come to an agreement with it. Like we were like asking everyone here, but they're just both geniuses, and I was just so humbled that they both got to do me at the same time. That's what she said. But yeah, and everybody else here, there's pretty much no artist here that I don't respect, and I respect them now since I work with them, and I see that the hard work that they do and how hard sometimes they can be on themselves, which is good and bad thing, like everyone always says. Oh, see, I did it this time. Thank you, Kyla. Everyone here is their worst critic, and from an outside perspective, like I'm like, that looks amazing, and I can never like see it from my point of view because I'm not an artist. I see how hard everyone is on themselves, and I think it's good because like John White, who we had a podcast, is a phenomenal artist here. He'll send me and he'll go to the bar. He goes, send me everything, and I'll walk by while I'm going to my car, and he's just critiquing himself, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is great. Some artists are, Adrian, another phenomenal artist. He's learning and growing. sometimes he's a little hard on himself. But I see it as a very humbling thing in a sense where he doesn't see everything he does as like, I'm killing it. He always wants to do better, and he's young and he's learning and he's hungry. That's why I love you, Adrian.
That's how you stay hungry, though.
Yeah.
Yo, it is so tough to find that healthy line in like critiquing your own artwork. You know what I mean? Like, because I remember in the beginning, I would like over critique and I would like discourage myself and almost like talk down to myself like, yo, you fucking suck. Like, you've been tattooing 3 years. Your tattoo should be better. And it would like ruin my week. Like, I would do something that maybe 90% of it was good, 10% could be way better, and I would be like depressed until I did a tattoo I was happy with.
That kind of
which could be weeks.
Yeah, like I just hit the 1 year mark, so I feel like in my mind, like I feel like I should be at another level now, and like I look at my stuff and I'm like, this sucks.
Yeah,
and it's only because like I reached like a new little level that I'm like I should be farther.
Right. Yeah. And like what I'll see, and I always keep an eye out for this, is like in those first couple of years, especially that second year, for whatever reason, the terrible twos, like you'll over critique your work and your self-esteem will be so low, and you'll try to compensate with the ego, and then it'll come off like you're arrogant.
Yeah.
And you'll get this like weird combination of those two. I don't know if you've seen it, especially with like early tattooing. And like we work on that a lot, you know, like staying humble, which is just like having an accurate view of yourself.
Yeah.
Like, cool. Like, I'm a first year tattooer. Like, I'm producing decent tattoos. I'm allowed to be proud of my tattoos.
Yeah.
Don't be arrogant.
Yeah.
You know, don't be like too hard on yourself, you know, but try to improve.
Yeah. I feel like every artist should at least be able to have that like step back and like, even though you critique yourself, sometimes even look at like the good you did in a tattoo. Like, oh, that's something new I did. It's not maybe how I wanted it to look, but it's like I tried it.
Yeah.
And it's like, we'll work on getting it better, you know, but like at least you're taking the steps.
Yeah, because I know in the beginning a lot, it'd be like, lines look good.
Shading shit.
And you're like, oh, it's a realism beast. Whatever, you know?
Yeah.
But, you know, always trying to find something good.
Yeah.
And then giving some positive feedback in a way that it can be heard. Do you have apprentices?
I do.
1, 2, more?
So I have one apprentice. She's 3 years in and she has her own place already. Very proud of her.
Nice.
My second apprentice is still at the shop. She's doing great. She loves dot work and mandalas and black work and geometric stuff. And I have one right now that she's a couple months in. So
nice.
she's still getting the hang of it. She's baby apprentice.
For your apprenticeship, do you kind of like let your apprentices decide like what route they want to take in their tattooing? Like, do you?
They're different. Like, I've had to take a different approach with each of them. Like, my first apprentice, she was older. She was older, like in her 40s,
older than you?
like mom.
Yeah.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, she was actually a client of mine.
That's really cool.
Amazing artist. Like, I saw a lot of great potential in her. And I kind of pushed her to do it.
Cool.
You know?
That's
she didn't seek me out. I kind of had to harass her and be like, hey, this is for you.
Right.
You need to listen to me.
Right.
What I'm saying, this is for you. And yeah, she took it, and she wanted to quit a bunch of times. I didn't let her. But she took it. She started her own place. She's really happy.
Nice.
And now she's killing it.
Yeah, she's killing it.
That's what's up.
And do you have like a standard for your apprenticeship? Like, okay, cool, I know it's, you know, going to take about a year. You're going to be doing this many hours. Like,
Yeah,
what
like
is
a year is standard, I feel like, for any apprenticeship.
right?
Yeah.
I feel.
Like, let's say, you know, I'm interested in apprenticing with you. Like, what are you going to let me know? Like, hey, John, this is what to expect.
Yeah, this is what to expect, I guess. Like, you're going to be doing the free labor around the shop. Obviously, you're going to be drawing a lot, shadowing, setting up, breaking down, doing things for other artists, learning the logistics of the shop as well, because we have a system in place.
Sure.
And then, like, you can expect your apprenticeship to be about a year.
How many hours a week do they work, or how many days?
They work 5 days a week, depending on their needs.
Right.
And 4-hour shifts.
Would you ever take someone that could do like a part-time apprenticeship?
Yeah, definitely. Like, in this economy, you're going to have to.
Right.
Especially, like, as someone in the industry who enjoys creating, like, not only artists but leaders, we're gonna go and open up like really safe spaces for people that can produce really great art. You're gonna want that flexibility because not everyone can commit to a full-time apprenticeship.
I feel like especially people that are coming into the industry as they're older, it's harder.
Yeah.
Because like I was like you for the first apprenticeship, like I lived with my parents. You know, it was almost like college.
Yeah.
Like in the sense that like I was going somewhere every day and I was still sheltered by my parents.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's how my mom
Yeah,
kinda
like if
looked at
you're
it too.
coming in here 20 years old and you're like, I want an apprenticeship, I'm like, you're working 7 days a week.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, yeah,
I know you're
like, that was like my
protected.
thing. Yeah. Like I lived with my mom. I dropped out of college to apprentice. So my mom was like, if you're going to do it, like you better work fucking hard. So I was here 6 days a week.
Have you had success with a part-time apprentice?
Yeah.
Because I never have. I've tried too.
All my apprentices have been part-time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you make them like maybe a little bit longer since they spend less time in the shop, maybe the apprenticeship?
Not really, because at the end of the day, like what they need to focus on is learning how to tattoo, just by watching until they can actually do it. By the time they do it, that's when they have to go full time.
Yeah.
If they're gonna pick up a tattoo machine, you have to dedicate yourself full time to it.
Yeah.
But they can do other stuff part time.
That sounds reasonable.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, I think it very well is.
Yeah.
And then someone that's working part-time, how many hours a week do you think they're putting in?
Maybe like 4 hours a day,
Okay.
3-4 days a week.
Makes sense. Yeah, because like when I did my apprenticeship, my mentor was like, yo, I need you. I worked the second apprenticeship. I worked 6 days a week, and then my day off, half the day I had to work. And he was like, I'm doing this, so it's like you're kind of like building muscle memory with everything that needs to be done in the shop, and you're not going to lose focus. And he also didn't let us take time off for the first year,
Yep.
so we could like really learn. Now, do I think it's possible to do a part-time apprenticeship? Yeah, 100%. You know, and I think that's cool that you offer that. It didn't happen to me, and like I'm so careful about like putting my own ideas into the apprenticeship.
Yeah.
Because like what was taught to me worked, and I don't want to fuck it up because my ideas fuck shit up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I'm going to be super biased to like a full-time apprenticeship. Like I went through full-time apprenticeship, 60 hours a
so
week.
did I. I worked
Yeah.
12 to 10, 6 days a week.
Yeah.
And you know, that's like no breaks, no time off.
Yeah.
Like to get even like a day off, it was like this whole thing. But I just don't think that's realistic today. Not for everyone. And by all means,
Yeah.
if you want someone under you that has that same level of dedication that you did, that's going to be great. But I know a lot of people that don't have the means to do that.
Right.
It doesn't mean they should be excluded from at least the opportunity.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
So like what we do here is like if you're my apprentice, like I got you. And that means financially too. So like I think that's like the other end of it. Like I understand that aspect. You know what I mean? And like if things come up or I mean
Use my
anytime
windshield for the example.
anytime you had anything going on.
Yeah.
Because I want to build that relationship, that trust, right? So it's like, if something comes up, we figure it out together, and like we figure it out together as a shop.
You're definitely like, if you see them putting in the time, you have no problem helping. So there was like during my apprenticeship, I was on the way home one day on the highway. I caught a brick through my windshield.
Oh, no.
I could not afford to pay for it, but John helped me with that.
I mean, I'm gonna make fun of you.
Yo, yeah. So like, he sends me the Venmo. He's like, for your windshield, loser.
Who do you think threw it?
Trials and tribulations.
Logan. No, but yeah, it's tough, and like, and I get that because I remember because I didn't have that in my apprenticeship. It was figure it the fuck out.
Yeah.
You know, and it created the hustle and like the mindset. And I'm not sure if that's healthy, you know, but I still kind of have that now. It's like that get up and go. And I remember when I transferred to maybe like a normal schedule where I'm only working like 50, 60 hours a week, it felt like a break. because I'm not working 90. I'm like, this is awesome.
I was
This
gonna
is
say,
super
like,
chill.
when like Logan came and I got to make, I'm leaving maybe an hour earlier every day now. It's like, it does like add up, like the amount of time. Yeah.
Arriving an hour late.
Yeah.
Because like Logan, I mean, you easily work 60, 70 hours a week here, and you have another job, right?
Logan's killing it.
I think I'm around about 85 hours a week.
Right.
Shoo.
I mean, like yesterday, Ricky came in here now, saw me back there washing dishes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Logan
Because you'll
works
come
right
here, you'll
across the
work.
street.
Oh, that's awesome.
12-hour days.
Kind of convenient for him.
Yeah.
I've actually figured out a good schedule. It's super convenient for me because it's right across the street. So
Yeah.
It's like if I don't finish up here, I just
I was about to say you're 30 seconds away from your next shift. Yeah.
I work my shift over there. I come back and I finish up anything I didn't get done here.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm here late, pretty late, and that's fine because I'm getting everything done.
Logan works harder than any apprentice we've ever.
Yeah.
I just want to go on the record and say I love you.
It's super easy. I mean, like you were talking about. I mean, building that trust with the shop and just coming in. Like, it'd been different. I got here and you guys are just told big bags and assholes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like you work hard and you're rewarded. It's
And I'm sure work ethic has a lot to do with that. You don't treat
it's what it's about.
everybody like
You need a team like that. I'm sure you have, a team you've assembled.
Oh,
that-
yeah.
Yeah, the camaraderie has to be strong, the respect.
You're very open to your apprentices, like learning from everybody.
Of course,
Yeah.
I encourage it because I'm not gonna be doing like all the styles all the
Yeah.
time.
You have some. You can learn something from everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've learned stuff from Danny. He's not even a tattooer. I've learned stuff from Logan. He's an apprentice.
I taught you
so
something for tattooing?
Teach me everything.
Oh, boy. I don't even know how to, but you're welcome.
And then, so you own your own shop,
Yeah.
and how long's the shop been open?
So I've been established since 2018, but
Nice.
I've been in my current location for the last 2 years since it was a whole different animal to manage.
Wait, so walk me through that. What happened in 2018? You were at a different location?
I went private.
Okay.
I went and I did my own private studio.
How was that?
It was so much fun. Yeah. Yeah, it was exactly what I wanted, everything that I needed. I had this super cute little room and I set it up real nice, like with a chandelier.
Yeah, yeah.
And it was just a vibe for me and my clients.
Right. Like a safe spot. It
Yeah,
was
it was
yours.
great.
And that was
Then I got-
leaving the
that was
original
leaving
shop?
Major League, yeah.
Okay.
So it was really fun to do. And then I got my first apprentice because I coaxed her into it.
At the private studio.
Yeah.
Cool.
And it was just her and I in that little room. We bonded a lot. We were
I'm
together
sure.
every
Yeah.
second of the day.
Was this the first one that owns her own shop now?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, yeah. She's been through it, like through the trenches with me and everything.
Yeah.
And then my second apprentice sought me out.
Did that shop have a different name? With a private studio, did it have like a
No,
name?
it was the same name.
The Glitter Poops?
Yeah.
Nice. You moved to the new shop.
Yeah.
You did it by yourself. That's what we were
Yeah,
talking
that's
about.
what we were saying.
Yeah, you heard other
Did it
people
wrong.
had investors.
I was saying I did it
Right.
wrong.
right.
I was there raw dogging business with my own money, basically, and
Oh yeah.
I learned much later that that wasn't the way. And
Is it
yeah.
not the way though?
I know a lot of business owners now, and they all explain to me, how they came up and stuff, and they use other people's money. Like they take out loans from the bank. They have like these ways of doing things that now make sense, and now I utilize them too.
Right.
But when I was first starting, like I had no knowledge of any of this. All I
Yeah.
was like, I had this little notebook with everything down to like the last cent that I needed to create an establishment.
Yeah.
It was all written down. And I had this total in there, and I'm like, all right, I need to save this much money. I just
Right.
need to grind for like 2 weeks. If I do this many tattoos in this day, like if I do like a whole fucking day's work, like this is how long it's gonna take me.
How much over budget did you go?
I don't know.
Was it a lot or a little?
Okay, so here's the thing. With the new location,
Yeah.
I kind of just didn't even give myself a budget because I had to do a full
Good.
build out.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's gonna take whatever it's gonna take. That number is between my accountant and my bank statement. Like,
Yeah, no, I don't.
even
I
need
just
to know it.
just because I know, like, I always go over budget. Whatever I think it's gonna be,
I
it's
don't
gonna
know
be
what a
double.
budget is.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't know what that is.
yeah.
Yeah, but it was worth it. I wouldn't have changed a thing. I'm just glad that I know what I do now.
Now, what was picking the location like?
So when
Because
I
you're in
was,
Miami,
yeah,
right?
when I was in the private studios, there were other tenants that had also suites in the building.
Sure.
And one of the tenants had a kid running around. They were in a hair salon, so the kid grabbed a bundle of hair and clogged all of the toilets.
Wow.
And basically flooded the entire building. So we couldn't work out of there for like a week because it smelled like shit. And there was sewer water like on our floor.
Yeah.
And I called my landlord, and he's super sweet guy. And I was like, listen, man, you and I have a great relationship. This location kind of sucks. I'm trying to expand. Like, I need a building. Do
Yeah.
you have a building that I can have? He's like, yeah, absolutely. It's down the street.
Cool. All right.
Drove by it, and I was just like mortified, but I was looking at it. It was just like torn down, graffiti everywhere, like broken glass. Like,
Yeah.
it was just not
It was
it.
rough.
And I called my landlord. I'm like, are you sure?
Right.
He's like, yeah, you got to go inside. It used to be a church. You got to go inside.
It's vintage.
We went inside.
It's all aesthetics.
Yeah, and it was just this big open space, and you know, these windows, and the loft, the second floor was closed off, so you don't see that from the outside.
Yeah.
And I kind of just walked through the space, and I kind of got a feel for what it needed to be. And I was like, yeah, I'll take it. I'll make it work. Give me like free build out time, and I'll do the build out like
Right.
real nice.
And
Everything will
then
be-
now you got to find contractors. You got to find plumber. The whole deal. How was
yeah,
that?
so I was dating someone that was very handy.
Nice.
And he did a lot of that work. And
Wow,
then,
that's
I would
nice.
tattoo all day until like midnight sometimes, and then
Yeah.
I would go over there and help out.
Yeah.
I was breaking down walls. I was like finding people for flooring. Like
Right.
it almost cost me my sanity.
Yeah. You don't realize like how much stuff you have to pick out.
You do realize.
I didn't.
I realized. I
Well,
had it
not
all
until I was
written down.
not until I was doing it. You know what I mean? Because like I'm building a second shop now, and like I already have the experience of building a shop, and like I still forget. I guess you were prepared. I wasn't.
I wouldn't
I'm
say
still not prepared.
so much as traumatized.
right.
Everything that could have gone wrong went wrong pretty much.
Yeah.
Like there was a hole in the floor of the loft when we first got there. So it was quite literally from scratch.
You didn't put like a fire pole in there?
That would have been sick.
Everyone wanted me to do that, but I was like, absolutely not. We're gonna think it's a stripper pole.
Did you ever
Yeah.
imagine yourself opening up your own business?
Did I ever what?
Imagine yourself opening up your own business?
No, I just wanted to tattoo people.
Yeah.
It was kind of a necessity, you know, to do it like this. But
end
no,
up-
never my intention.
Yeah, you end up wearing a lot of hats that have nothing to do with tattooing.
Yeah, I'd rather wear none.
I know.
I wish I could just show up to work and like tattoo all day. But suddenly, you know, payroll needs to be done, and someone
Yeah.
took a shit outside in the parking lot. You
Right.
know, some fucking
A
crisis.
glitter poop.
Glitter shit.
That's right.
Good.
Do you like being a shop owner though?
In what way?
In the way of
Yes.
owning a tattoo shop?
No, I really don't. Well, okay, there's things I like about it. I love to create a space
Yeah.
for artists and clients, so I love that. I don't like the logistical work of it.
Right. Like the background business stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah.
like accounting, payroll, inventory, marketing, posting, replying, like answering
Yeah.
phones, all that shit just drains me, really. And I have trust issues, so I don't trust anyone to do that.
Right.
But everything else is so fulfilling. Like walking in there every day and seeing everyone like happy getting tattooed with like their friends, and they brought their baby, and like the baby's getting the temporary tattoo.
Yeah.
Like it's really fulfilling in that way.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like there's a bunch of positive, a bunch of negative, and it's like, what am I going to choose to look at?
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know about you, but like when we opened this place, and I say we because there was a bunch of us, you know, unfortunately, it's just me now. I was 24, so like I didn't fucking know anything, barely knew how to tattoo, and like I so rejected the responsibility of being a shop owner, and it like scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
And like all my artists at the time, not only were they older than me, but they had been tattooing longer than me. And like I understood one of the most important things in the tattoo world is respect. And I was like, how am I going to earn these guys respect? You know, and I think being in the trenches, like being a tattoo artist was part of it. I think giving them each individual and personal attention was another part. I think being fair, applying mercy in situations, just like, you know, sometimes giving things to people that they didn't necessarily deserve, just because, you know, I had faith in them. And like showing like I am going to provide something for the artists here. I'm not just going to try to like take, you know, because I feel like coming up in my industry, most of my shops just tried to take from me.
Absolutely.
Right? So it's like, how can I create a shop that gives? But I hated that. And like, as the partners and different people left, I was terrified. You know, it probably wasn't until 2 years into the business that I was like, I have to be a shop owner. I don't think I was a shop owner the first 2 years. I think I was like, you know, a tattoo artist that had some pull with what went on in the shop. Because I just like put it on other people. I was scared. I don't want that responsibility. I don't want to make decisions. You know, I don't want to do any of that. I don't want people to be mad at me. I want people to like me, right? And like that factored into like my ego and my decision making and all this. And it turned out, or what I found out is like, if you're a shop owner, like people need to be able to count on you. Like you have to be a leader.
You have to be a leader.
You have to. And like, they want to know they're safe. I want to know I'm safe, you know? They want to know like their job is safe. They want to know that you have their fucking back. And by not taking that responsibility, I wasn't giving anything to the shop. And like when I started to do that and like find my independence and like work on that, that's when it really started to become a family. Because we had all kinds of crazy shit here. I mean, you can ask Ricky, like there was one day where I had 12 artists leave in one day.
Oh, wow.
It was rough. And I was tattooing, just watching them one by one go out the door.
Oh my goodness.
And it's because I wasn't a leader. And it's because I wasn't providing anything for the shop. I wasn't the backbone, you know? And eventually trying to please everyone, like give this, give that, and then like go back and like live this like double life as like, I'm your friend, like me. Also, I'm trying to run the shop. I'm letting 10 different opinions run the shop. It just collapsed on itself.
Yeah.
You know?
Wow.
And we got like a fresh restart essentially. But what's that? Yeah, there's 3 of us. We went from like 15 to 3. And I think at that point it felt like, you know, I lost 80% of the business. And I was like, yo, are you going to show the fuck up and do something about it? Or are you just going to close the shop down?
Oh, wow.
You know? But that was kind of like my point of like, yo, I gotta do something. And it is tough to be a shop owner, you know? And I feel like the one cool thing about like us owning a shop is like we get to decide how it runs, whether we want that responsibility or not.
That was always the intention from day one for me.
Right.
Like I've never been scared of hard work. I've never been scared of leading, especially because I had such a clear vision of what I needed the shop to be.
And what was that?
Because I just needed I needed it to be a place for artists, like you said, to not get taken advantage of.
Right.
So when I opened it with the standard of what I needed from my previous shop and nothing less.
Yeah, it's a good place to start.
Yeah. What I expected, like my clients to be treated. And I was a client before I was ever a tattoo artist. So also what I expected as a client from my tattoo artist. I had very clear standards for my business, and anyone that needed to come work for me needed to fall in line with those standards and those values too. So I've never had to butt heads, but the fact that you did and you still came out like super successful with an amazing team is really commendable.
Yeah, and I'm sure you know, like that's what it is. It's the team, right? And like working together and having, it seems, I mean, you know, I haven't been to your shop. I'd love to come by sometime, check it out. But even like from pictures and seeing the events you guys put on and like the donations, it seems like you guys do things as a team.
Yeah.
Which is so cool.
It is. Like I know what I want to do, and then I just kind of have to make sure they want to do it too.
Yeah.
I do have like artists that choose not to participate in like our donation events, and that's good for them. But like I kind of already just, you know who I can rely on for certain things. And if you want to show up and just tattoo, then that's what you want to do. And you won't get any fulfilled any other way. At least you have a shop where you can go and work peacefully, you know.
How many artists do you have?
Whoa, okay.
Whoa. Counting math.
Sorry. I think I have like 12 artists now.
Yeah.
Nice.
12 artists, 2 apprentices,
Nice.
and we have an amazing piercer, Allison.
Fuck yeah. It's a big shop though.
Yeah.
It's a lot of personalities, right?
Yeah, we're all pretty awesome.
Yeah.
We all vibe really well.
And then when you decide to bring someone new onto the team, what does that look like?
Oh my God. So usually it's someone shows up crying to my shop with some horror story.
From another shop.
Yeah,
Right.
like Julia back there. We won't say the name of the shop, but it was like a really bad place, man. Like
Yeah.
it was not good. So usually that's how I meet new employees. Like
Yeah.
they come to me last resort because they hear about the reputation that we have. They hear that we're super helpful, we're super nice, very accommodating people. And if anything, they leave with at least some guidance
Sure.
about what they need to do. They may not always leave there with a job offer, but at least a good direction
Yeah.
and a good connection.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
Julia was on my ass for months for a job.
I love that.
Yeah.
I was like every day.
She didn't even know it.
Every day at 12 o'clock, I was like, let me call Lola at Glitter Poops because I swear to God, I need to leave this shop. And then I had to quit that shop because it was just, I found too many things going on.
So you just bothered her every day until the answer was yes.
After the 3rd time she called, I knew I was going to hire her, but I didn't want to tell her.
She was still building the shop, and I was like, do you need help?
Dude, I love that. I'm such a sucker for that. Like, you know, whatever. Here's the secret, everyone. Like, if you show up here every day, eventually I'm going to hire you.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
current apprentice, she booked appointments with me. Every appointment, she would
Yeah.
ask me, can I be your apprentice? And I'm like, no, I don't want a headache right now.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, I'm going to ask you next time. And I'm like, you can try. Until one day, she just broke me.
Yeah.
She broke me.
Because that's what you want.
Yeah.
You want someone that is serious, that
Yeah.
shows up. I remember when I was 16 and I was trying to like figure out how to get into the industry. This is back in New Jersey. Like I would ask people like, how do I get an apprenticeship? And they're like, just show up every day. And they're going to say no. And when they say no, leave. Or if they tell you to leave, leave. Just come back the next day. And I would do that for months. And then the one guy was even like, I understand what you're doing and I respect it, but you're 16. I can't hire you. You know? He's like, come back and do this when you're 18 or whatever.
I was 100% prepared to do the same thing.
Yeah, I should have fucking
That's like
made
the
you
old
wait
Kung Fu
longer.
Yeah.
Master thing.
Yeah.
The apprentice waits outside their door for like a year through the snow, through the rain,
Yeah.
still gets rejected, and then one day just gets handed a sword. Plastic.
Yeah.
Quite a couple people like that. Like I call, especially apprentices. There's one in particular that we hired that just, you were like, no, we're not looking. And that bitch showed up every fucking day.
Yeah.
And the back is through.
Yeah. But you can lose that, you know, and that's what'll happen sometimes. And I also like have to protect myself because I know what I'm going to put into your apprenticeship. And like, I just can't help myself. I'm going to put everything into your apprenticeship and I'm going to take it home with me. Like when you're upset, when you're struggling, when you like, I'm going home, I'm laying in bed thinking how we can provide a solution. You know, whether it's like Adrian, you know, in the beginning, he was struggling with realism and I'm like, how can we practice this? What can we do? What's the best? And I'd like come in and I'd be like, this is what we're gonna do. And he already forgot about it.
Yeah.
You know, so like, I don't want to put that into someone that's not serious. Right.
Yeah. You know what you have to offer as a mentor,
Right.
and that's super valuable.
Yeah.
Right.
Also, I feel like as an apprentice, you should also know like what there is, that like what the possibilities are. Like walking into here, it's like, damn, there's a lot of really talented veteran artists. It's like if you really want this, you're gonna have to work harder than like your average apprenticeship. Or
Yeah. I mean,
Shit, when I got hired as an artist, I was like, holy.
yeah.
It was fucking Tory. It was like, oh.
or even like me, it's like I went through the apprenticeship and they're like, now here's a machine. And I'm like, fuck, now I gotta like not like compete with these dudes, but like compete with these dudes.
Yeah, you
it's
finally like get good at being an apprentice.
Yeah.
You're like, yo, I'm like the
Yeah,
most
like,
fire
I'm
one
on a
here,
roll.
mopping the floors. No one
Yeah,
mopped the floors
yeah.
like me. You
Yeah.
know? And then it's like, here's something you're bad at, and you're like, fuck.
And then you do your first tattoo, and then you look around, and you're like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah,
yeah.
And you're like, don't look.
Yeah.
No one look at what I just did.
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely. But it's good though.
Yeah.
Yeah, if like you do your first tattoo and you're happy with it, something went wrong.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like just if you do your first tattoo and it, like you're happy with it, but then you have like stuff like all this going around, it's like you should want more.
I was
Yeah.
mortified my first tattoo.
Oh my
Me too.
God.
I did my first tattoo, and then it's like I look at like who else did a tattoo that same day, and it's like Nate sleeved the dude out, and I'm like, fuck. It took me 4 hours to do a little match, and
Right.
he did a whole half sleeve in 4 hours.
And like we'll have a talk usually when you start tattooing, and I'm like, listen, you're a good artist. You're fucking here. Like I'm not going to tell you that anymore. You should know by now that you're a good artist. You're here. You earned the ability to tattoo. You've earned it. So don't think you don't deserve it or nothing like that. You've made it to the point. You've done everything you're supposed to. I'm not giving you a fucking compliment because it doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything.
It doesn't.
Good
I'll be like,
talk.
good, you did great. Like, what is that? How does that help you?
You
And I
really
think I
need
say
that
like,
from
if you
your
want a
mentor.
fucking compliment, call your mom at the end of the day.
Yeah.
She'll give you all kinds of compliments. We're here to grow, you know? So you might do a fire tattoo, but I'm pointing out what needs improvement. And it has nothing to do with who you are as a person.
It's just part of the mentorship.
Right. Right.
But sometimes like an apprentice can take that the wrong way. My
Yeah,
personal,
definitely.
Sometimes an artist can
they
take it the
will.
wrong way.
yeah,
They will
yeah.
take that
Like
the
my
wrong way.
personal opinion, like definitely like my generation's a little softer. I'm pretty sure like you get the gist. Like the younger the person is, like they're a
Yeah.
little more delicate.
That's
I'd
okay
say.
too. It just depends on how you
it's
want
just
to manage that.
it's just my generation period. I think we're just a little bit, yeah, as Ricky would say.
Ricky said this pussies.
But yeah, like the way John explained it is, I would say, is perfect. Like you're not gonna get a pat on the back. It's like here's what you could do to do better.
Yeah.
Like you said, like your mom will tell you good job.
Yeah. She loves to.
Yeah.
But like also like having the connection with the apprentice to know when they're being too hard on themselves to like pull them back and be like, yo, are you all right? Like, I know this is tough. Like this is a hard part of the apprenticeship and you're doing great, you know, to like kind of like keep that even balance that we were talking about, which is hard.
Yeah.
Because sometimes like words from another just isn't enough and you're just going to go home and feel like shit. And then learning how to cope with that. Right.
I mean, I'll ask every artist what they think about a tattoo because I want to get ripped from every single like direction.
Just want to abuse.
Yeah, I just want
you just stand there with your back and they're like,
yeah. No, I want to see what everyone thinks, you know?
Yeah.
I want as many eyes as I could get for like an opinion, you know?
Yeah.
Because you're going to have something different to say than Ricky. And then, you know, he may notice something or you may notice something that he didn't notice or I didn't notice, you know, or completely different styles. Like I'll ask Nate and then you, and you both look at tattoos a complete different way because you have
Yeah.
a complete different approach.
yeah.
That's probably a really good way of getting better for sure.
Yeah, a bunch of artists, a bunch of opinions. Take
Yeah,
what's
we
useful.
all walk around the shop and harass each other while we're working.
I
And
mean,
you know, it's
you
really
have to.
helpful because I'll go up to like my apprentice to be like, hey, you're using the wrong needle. Go to my station, grab this, do it like that.
Yeah,
And then
Yeah.
this is what you're going to get out of it.
Yeah.
yeah,
You know, but I feel like that needs to be done by everybody. Like,
For sure.
Yeah.
I think it's essential if you want to grow as an artist.
It is.
Yeah. Self-critiquing isn't always like isn't everything. You
Yeah.
definitely need like it's a different set of eyes. Yeah. Well, my goal is I would always try to like pull apart my tattoo and then ask you guys and see if like I could guess what I did wrong before like you say it.
Did you have any like monumental or major struggles that stand out, whether it was through learning to tattoo or through opening your shop?
I mean, working at the Major League Tattoos, like they always kept me humble,
Go on.
which was a good thing.
Yeah,
Because that always pushed myself to be an artist. And then when I kind of just went private, I kind of had to take that responsibility for myself. And I feel like it's good to be overly critical of your work.
Yeah.
Not to the point of madness,
Right.
obviously.
Yeah.
But it's really good because especially if you're in a private studio, that's what's going to keep pushing your art forward. That harsh self-critiquing, I would literally finish the day, look at the photo on my phone and zoom into the pixels to see where that fucking pickup was,
Yeah.
you know? And then I would just make sure that the next day, if I needed to fix something, I'd be like, hey, I need you to come in real quick because I forgot a dot on
Right.
the nose
Yeah.
of the anime character,
Yeah.
you know? And that was really important to me. Quality of work is really important to me, and that's kind of what I instill. on everybody else, like, zoom into your work, pick that shit apart. If you see a mistake, make a note of it for next time. If you don't know how to do something, don't do it.
Right.
Practice it until you know how to do it.
Right. That's a big one, like staying somewhat reasonably in your comfort zone.
You also gotta like be able to realize like what you were happy that you did with your tattoo. You're like, oh, I'm
happy that I can realize my mistakes.
Yeah.
Because if I can't, that means I'm not looking at it right. Like, no, nothing I do is ever going to be perfect.
Right. At that point, you're done growing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Are you still growing?
Yeah. You never stop growing. I'll be
Hopefully.
forever-
Some people do, bro.
forever apprentice.
Some people, like, they wake up and they're like, I know everything about tattooing now.
And you
I'm
got to
the
go and
fucking
take a
best.
seminar.
Yeah.
Yeah, or whatever the fuck it is.
And I bet you don't.
I watched like one seminar once, and the artist was like a 15-year artist, and he was like, I am still an apprentice.
Right.
He's like, every day I learn, every day I grow. I am still learning, as if somebody who just started in the industry.
Yeah.
I may know more, but I'm still learning.
Dude, my mentor would shake me and be like, if you get anything from this, stay teachable your whole life. And like, I have, my mind like is really like is really closed. You know, like I'm very defiant at heart. And it's hard for me. A lot of times when people bring up a new idea, the first thought is, you're wrong. I don't know why. That's just how my brain works. I'm like, you're fucking wrong. I'm not listening to you. And like the best way for me to combat that is to ignore that first voice and be like, maybe you're right. Whether that's an apprentice or a longtime artist. You might come up to me and be like, hey, I noticed when I hold a machine and do it like that, like it is like, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. You've been tattooing like 1 fucking year. You don't know anything. I got to ignore that voice. I got to be like, okay, new perspective, fresh thought. Yeah. What is Cam talking about? Is this useful? Yeah. Right. And that's like how I can practice like staying teachable.
I feel like recently, I don't know like exactly how to word it, but like I realized that like you are still like also like very hungry, because you'll even take like sometimes my, I don't know, like word for like, you'll ask me like, yo, how does this stencil look? You know, like even you are open to like my opinion on things, and that's how like you're very open to everyone's, opinions and stuff, which is like our way to grow.
Right. And you can tell when someone's like closed off.
You definitely can.
Yeah, because like I like this.
Which happens, and that's fine. Like personal stuff, like all kinds of things will close you off. You know, you got some stuff going on in your personal life, maybe family life, maybe you're upset about a tattoo, like
maybe
whatever.
You just have like a stubborn vision. You're like, I really want it this way.
Yeah.
It may be different, but
but I get worried when it happens, especially when you're a younger tattooer.
Because you could get like fixated on that almost.
Right.
Yeah.
Have you dealt with that at the shop?
Yeah, I've definitely clashed with a few arrogant like personalities.
Yeah.
But I'm sure there's a place for them somewhere, just not with me.
Yeah. I like that view.
Very passive. I like
Yeah. Like I don't gotta deal with that.
Yeah. You're like, if you're willing to learn and you're open, I will help you. But if not, it's like I'm not gonna waste time on you.
I mean that's like, if you're not willing to learn, maybe I'm not even willing to teach. But as soon as you start getting arrogant about stuff, that's when it becomes a problem.
It's hard to deal with.
Yeah, it's not for me.
Yeah.
No.
It's hard to be the bigger person in like those situations sometimes.
No, it's not. You just gotta learn to just let things go, let things be, but just not in your proximity.
Right.
Yeah.
And then also, like, as a shop owner, being able to see that, decide if it's something that can change, and if it's not, getting rid of it as fast as possible.
Yeah, definitely.
I would hold on to artists like way too long.
No, I can't. I
Yeah.
cut things off
Yeah.
super quick.
You're like, cool, this
Because
is not
at the
going
end
to
of the
work.
day, I know how hard I work to establish my team, my business, my space, that trust,
Yeah.
that reputation, and anything that even slightly threatens it in the least is going to have to go.
Right.
It takes time to build like a really solid
Yeah, man,
team.
it takes time, it takes effort. Like I said, it literally almost cost me my sanity, so I'm not going to let some little fucktard come in and ruin the vibe.
Yeah. I agree. And it also hurts them because it's like, this is not the shop for you.
Yeah.
And like, maybe I'm holding them up from finding the shop for them.
Absolutely.
You know?
Like I said, there's a place for them, just not with me.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've even like taken note of some of the shops in the area and the vibe that those shops have, which are different from this.
Yeah.
And if they don't work, I'm like, go to that shop, go to that shop, you know?
we have a really solid crew right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. 'Cause even like from when I've been here like almost 2 years, it's definitely really different now than than it was when I started, and it's
Yeah.
taken us, like, I've seen it slowly progress into what we have now.
Yeah, I mean, it's always changing. I'm sure your shop's like that too, growing in little
Just
ways.
keep growing, yeah.
Yeah.
We just keep adding on amazing people.
And I know you said you guys do a lot of like charitable events, right?
Yeah.
Tell me
we
about
work
that a
with,
little.
Every year we try to pick like one charity
Mm-hmm.
to just donate a shit ton of money to, like a full day's work from everybody.
Nice.
And we did Hope versus Cancer this year.
Nice.
Last year was St. Jude's, and we teamed up with a chiropractor
Cool.
in the area, Dr. 305. And we did it all in the studio, have a gallery space, and he was just doing adjustments on people for
Nice.
donation money, and we were tattooing for donation money.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And even when we were private, we held an event for, like, I think it was the Amazon rainforest.
Cool.
So that's been a big part of it too, like giving back.
Yeah, and I'm sure it gets everyone together.
Yeah,
Right?
everyone has to stand behind something.
Yeah. Yeah, you need stuff like that.
Do you think in this industry, you starting your own business and making your own path, do you think there's differences between gender, like how it would be for men and women? Do you feel any?
Oh my God, totally. Like, I cannot run a shop with the same way that you run yours. Like, it just doesn't suit me or my space.
Yeah.
And it's not about like a difference. It's just like the necessity to be different.
Okay.
You know, we need shops run by men that host a staff full of men, just like we need shops run by women that host a staff full of women.
Yeah.
And like, you can have co-ed shops and stuff, but it just needs to be run the right way, because we all need certain things from our work environment.
Right.
You know? And it definitely got to a point for me with my first shop where I just wasn't comfortable going to work. Like, I wasn't.
With the major place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that
one.
because you were a female in the industry?
It was for a couple different things, but it was just things that like I didn't want to deal with. I didn't feel like I had to deal with.
Do you feel like you ever have to like prove anything because you're a woman, like in the industry?
I mean, to myself, not really anyone else.
Yeah.
But I just always wanted to work hard and create a space where people could feel like they could work hard without being discriminated against or, uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Because I mean, obviously we've seen it in the history. Like in the beginning, where it was really just men.
Yeah.
And then even getting tattoos. You remember? Like it was like weird, like 20, 30
Yeah.
years ago, you saw a woman with a tattoo. It was taboo, and there was a idea attached to that.
Yeah, there's a
like a
stigmatism.
negative
Yeah.
thing. Obviously, it was kind of with everyone, you know. But I think even more so, like I'll talk to my parents about some of their friends that are women that had tattoos back then, and they're like, she was up to no good,
Or
or
even
like whatever.
I would remember, like, even as like a kid, you'd see a fully tattooed dude and think it's like cool, and then you see like a fully tattooed woman, you're like, I wonder what she's been through.
Right, because society would tell you
like
that.
she's no different than the dude, but yeah, just society. Like me growing up as a kid is always like seeing like women and tattoos was always like there was something.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you said you started your apprenticeship and you just walked into a room full of guys.
Yeah. They
Right.
did have a female tattooer
Okay.
on staff, but she was not there like for my first week.
Yeah.
But yeah, I walked in same thing that I've always done, like going to a job interview. The boss was usually a man, just go
Yeah.
in there with resume, a big smile. I went in there with my sketchbook and a big smile.
Yeah.
And like all the work ethic in the world. And it worked,
Yeah. Now, do you think as an apprentice, men and women should be treated complete equals, or do you think there should be differences in the approach?
I think if you're a male mentoring a woman, you need to actually like keep in mind and be mindful of the tone, because there is a power dynamic there.
Sure.
The same, like I've only mentored women. I don't think I have the ability to mentor a man or the patience to mentor a man. It's
Right.
just not it for me.
It
But
seems
you have
stupid.
you have to create those boundaries within yourself.
Right.
You got to know what works for you.
Because like I've had female apprentices, and like I've noticed without thinking treating them different, and like honestly like being harder on the males for whatever reason.
I didn't feel like it was that way for me. I felt like a lot of responsibility was put on me even after I became an artist. Like I
Yeah.
remember in one instance, I was asked to clean a microwave, and I'm like, yo, there's a perfectly good apprentice twiddling his thumbs in the front
Yeah.
desk.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, you know, women just clean the microwave better. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? No, man.
Yeah.
Well, because then I remember like noticing I was doing that, and I was like, I don't know if that's right. Maybe I should just treat everyone equal, you know? And then trying to like compensate for that. Like, okay, like it wasn't with Cam, but let's say like Cam and a female both apprenticing. Maybe I notice I'm ragging more on Cam. I'm like, is that incorrect? Like, should I treat them both the same?
I mean, it depends on how you bond with Cam, you know?
Right.
If you bond on him by like making fun of him, like just ragging
Right.
on him all day, that's great for your relationship. But normally women don't like that. Women
Right.
don't bond like that.
They don't like
Right.
the teasing so much.
Yeah, they don't
yeah.
like that shit. I don't like that shit.
Yeah.
I don't bond with any of my friends like that or my
Right.
staff. But that's just a difference in character at that point.
Yeah.
And personality. You have to be able to be compatible too.
And the conclusion I think I ended up coming to, because I wanted like a equality in some sense, is kind of what you mentioned before, that everyone is treated on an individual basis.
Yeah.
And I could be like consistent with that, if that makes sense, you know?
Definitely.
Because I didn't want anyone feeling like they were treated different. I wanted them to feel a part of. You know, I didn't want anyone like, oh, John treats me different because I'm a woman. John treats me different because I'm older. John treats me different because I'm a guy. John treats me different because I live with my parents. Like, I was like, no, like I want to establish equality, and also in order to have a great tattoo artist at the end, because that's what we're trying to do here, right?
Definitely.
You know? And then I would also think like, because I try to prepare apprentices for their career to come, right? And like I remember like with everyone, even with Cam, like these are things to expect, you know, and like getting females coming in and like noticing them mimicking what other females were doing, dealing with so this is the example I'll use. Like I had one female apprentice, and she was noticing that a lot of other female artists she follows were using sex appeal to generate clientele.
Absolutely.
Right?
Oh my God, yes. That was a huge problem. And I don't want to get anyone in trouble, but at one point...
Get him in trouble. Get him in trouble.
At one point,
We're not lying.
the first shop I was at, like, someone told me, they're like, oh yeah, it's sex sells, so just post a picture
Right.
of you, like, with your titties out. Watch you get, like, a walk-in. And honestly, I was so young and naive that I fell into that bullshit. But
Sure.
the problem was I was creating these fucking creepy-ass clients.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I would be surprised when they would act inappropriately during a session. So for a while, for years, I would say, I didn't post a single picture of myself. Like,
Yeah.
I just started posting, like, professional photography of, like, me in the studio.
Well, you have an
the
image
workspace.
now that
I
benefits
do.
from that.
Yeah, but, like, it just doesn't fall in line with what they were telling me to do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can do it just certain ways. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not the way. I don't feel like it's the way, especially if you
I
want to
agree.
portray your work. Like, if you want to be a model, go for it.
Yeah.
But don't try to sell your tattoo work.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
plenty of like tattooed models that sell it that way. Like I'm a model, but I'm tattooed. So
Right.
like, if you're, yeah.
And like that hadn't come up with me before. And like when she asked me like, is this something I should do? I was like, I don't know. I have to think about this a little more, you know? And kind of the conclusion we came up with is I was like, what do you want to be known for? You know? And she's like, I want to be known for my tattoos. And I was like, then post your tattoos. You know what I mean? And that's kind of like what we figured out together, not to rag on anyone that does it different. You know, whatever works. I respect the hustle.
Yeah.
But I think it is important to ask yourself, like, what do you want your audience to see?
Definitely.
You know what I mean? And what kind of people do you want to attract? Because we see it all. We see artists, half their page is pictures of themselves. And maybe that works, and that's awesome, and that's a marketing tool. Great. You know, I'll see pictures where, like, I just had a guest artist, like, reach out, and I didn't know anything about, like, him or what there was no pictures of him.
Yeah.
I wasn't even sure his gender. I was like, what, like, who, when you show up at the shop, like, what am I looking for, you know, to see? Because there were just no pictures of himself, but the fucking tattoos were fire, you know? So I saw that. I was like, cool, this is an amazing artist. You know, I don't know much about this artist, but I know it's an amazing artist. You know, I think it's important to pay attention to that kind of stuff.
Definitely.
Yeah, it
Also, I
doesn't
feel
really
like as
work
a
for
client-
men.
What?
Doesn't really work for men.
Speak for yourself.
Adrian
I was gonna say it works for some of them.
didn't work for Adrian. He lost followers
Yeah, he did.
for putting out sexy photos.
Yeah. What happened? Adrian did his sexy photo shoot.
People can't handle his midriff. Is all I can say. That propped up, but you know.
Adrian did kind of like a gag shoot, I guess you could say, and it didn't work well for him.
Maybe he got rid of clients he doesn't want anyway.
You're right. Maybe he weeded out some of them.
That's right.
Yeah.
I mean that.
I don't follow like girls that use their like body and shit for
Yeah.
because I'm like, I don't know what the fuck.
If I end up like seeing you more than your tattoos, I'm like, ugh.
I have clients that fly me out to states because they're babies and they refuse to go to anyone else.
Yeah.
Some people are scared of Miami.
No, they're not.
I feel like I'll tell some clients I'm in Florida and they're like, whoa. They're like, whoa.
Yeah, I've been going to conventions recently a lot more, so that's been
Nice.
fun.
Are you hitting any this upcoming year?
You'll be in the anime one in Miami, right?
Yeah, that one.
You wanna tell us more
I'm
about
not gonna
that?
work it. I'm just gonna have
Yeah.
the booth there. But my staff is gonna be there working hard, and then I'm going to Philly right
Nice.
before that.
We'll be in Philly also.
Yeah?
Yeah, Ricky will be with us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
It's
like
fun.
conventions?
I think they're fun.
Nice.
I think they're fun. To work, not really. There's a lot of pressure there.
Are you working Philly?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyone else from your studio over there? Is it?
No, I get to go with FK Irons.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, I fucking hate conventions.
They're fun to like chill and vibe and to discover new cities. Like I got tickets to this really great museum that has sculptures.
Cool.
In Philly?
Yeah, it's like right there next to the center. So I think I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna have to
get there a
grab
day
that.
early.
Grab
and
that
just check
info
it out.
for you. From
That is cool. That is like the way to do it. I just feel like
I just want a cheesesteak, to be honest.
Yeah, me too.
because like I don't like I'm sober. I'm in a relationship. I'm there to tattoo. So for me, it's very much like go there. Danny, is that where did Danny go? It's very much like go there. Make sure I get good sleep because it's a long day. So go to bed early. Like I'm not going out partying. FaceTime my girl at the hotel. Let her know I'm alive. Sleep, tattoo, sleep, tattoo, sleep. It's very like work, you know?
Right, but
long
you can still
days.
have fun. Like they have seminars and those things. There's always like museums nearby that you can check out in the city. Like the ones with the statues really great. And you can always check out like Michelin restaurants. If
True.
you like eating. Like
True.
you could go out and just have a really great like 9-course
We're
meal.
probably gonna have like one really nice dinner while we're out there.
Yeah, no, I'm sure like we'll have fun. It's just that's like what I've noticed ends up happening for me with conventions.
It becomes more stressful with the work. Almost.
It's just a lot.
Yeah.
Because like whenever it opens to when it closes, like that's when I'm tattooing.
Yeah.
I'm not fucking going out at night.
Yeah.
I grew up around Philly. I don't care about Philly.
You didn't get like too much
You know?
time to walk around. You're just
Yeah, or like
working.
whatever.
Yeah.
It'll be fun to go with you to like show you stuff and like have you enjoy it because I've already done it.
So this is
100
my
fucking
first
times.
convention. I'm kind of nervous because Philly is like, I heard
I've
pretty.
never been to Philly, but they
I
tell me
heard it's
crazy.
hectic. Yeah,
It's
so
great.
Yeah.
It's a great time.
I'm excited for it to be my first convention because I know it's an experience. Ricky's very excited.
Maybe
to
that's
go.
like what I'm doing wrong because I don't leave my booth. I'm just there and I'm tattooing the whole time and then I'm done.
I usually tattoo like 2 out of the 3 days, and one day I just go around meeting everyone that
That's
I want
good.
to.
I booked one of the days only for like a half day because I want to like walk around and experience
It's fun.
things. Yeah. I know there's a lot of South Florida artists are going to be up there. A lot of people I've spoken to will be there.
Yeah.
A couple of No Man's Land crew will be up there. So I want to like,
That's the one thing it's great for. It's like seeing friends you don't get to see a lot.
Yeah.
You know?
Which
And
I'm
I try to
excited for.
book friends when I'm up there, so it's like a little more relaxed. You know, like I can just go leave for an hour and like fuck around or whatever. But I just so much prefer like guest spots. Like that intimacy you get, like when you go to someone's shop, you get to spend quality time with them.
I love getting guest artists. I
Yeah.
love spoiling them.
Yeah, yeah. When you get a guest artist, I mean, what does that look like? Because everyone kind of has their own little way of handling that.
So I usually like set a standard if they want to like do appointments or walk-ins or whatever. But most of the time they end up being pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, you do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
Just treat 'em like
this
they're
is
an
your
artist.
house. This is your
Nice.
fucking house, bro. Do whatever you
we
want.
kind of do the same thing here.
We'll kind of like
here's where you
feel them
tattoo.
out, like because we
I'll feel them out for like the first 2-3 days.
yeah. Because there have been times where like a guest artist comes and I'm like, wow, I really don't like how you handle yourself.
Yeah.
And obviously I'm polite and I'm like, thank you for coming, but
He said
Never
never
again.
eyes.
Do you
Danny,
like,
don't
talk
let
to
him-
them before they show up? Like video time, nothing.
no, we just kind of like
Handle it.
look at the work, kind of see what's up. Danny will talk to them. I mean, I'm just kind of answered for you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really like go into too much depth. I kind of look at their work, obviously. I talk to them a little bit. But we kind of just, you'll never know who you can get. Anyone can be anyone on the internet.
Yeah, I remember I had this guest artist come once and he was like, yeah, I'm gonna be there for like a week. And I'm like, all right, cool. Then he came and the story changed and suddenly like he wants to stay permanently. And he
Gotcha.
wants like a visa. And
Was his name Dan
all
Cerna? Shit.
Dan's been guest spotting here for like 2
Yeah.
years. Yeah. But also, like, I know that there might be a guest artist that I don't like, but other people here like and can learn from.
Yeah.
You know? So it's whatever. But typically, you're a host and they're your guest,
Definitely.
right? So it's like, how do I accommodate that? Especially if they're coming from out of country. Like we have someone coming from out of country soon, and like I feel like it's our responsibility to show them around.
Yeah.
Especially like if they're unfamiliar with the area, whatever. Like at least do one dinner with them, spend some time outside the shop. I feel like that's important.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, not everyone's open to that, but that's something that I like to do. Like, we had a really great guest artist coming from Mexico. His name is Moy Marston.
Yeah.
And, like, every day, like, somebody from the shop would take him out. Like, Danny
Nice.
took him out skating.
Yeah.
I took him out eating a bunch of times, and he was just, like, baffled at the amount of food that we ate together. I think he went out to, like, a concert with one of the other artists.
Yeah.
So that's
cool.
fun. We get to hang out.
It is good. It is. Sometimes and I feel bad sometimes because it's like so busy. I don't get to spend the quality time that I want to all the time. But to kind of deal with that, I'm like, hey, come back. Like you did great. Maybe we didn't get to spend enough time together. It was a busy week for me. Whatever, things come up, and come back and maybe get another chance. What about when you guest at someone else's shop?
I haven't guessed at anyone else's shop, man.
You have to.
I haven't been invited, so I had planned to.
You're invited.
You're invited. Yeah.
I live here now. I had planned to go to Iceland for like 3 months.
Wow.
I had arranged with Reykjavik Inc. the full 3 months. Like, they told me where to stay, everything. But then like COVID hit, man.
Yeah.
And it really like ruined my plans. So I told myself that was the first place that I would ever guest spot at. But then I started building the studio, and like
Yeah.
it just requires so much of my presence that's really what I want to do with the last 2 years of my 5-year lease.
Is
I just
travel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to find a really great shop manager, just like establish that trust, like have him there or her there, whoever, and just like go
Yeah.
and meet everyone.
Well, that's a good point. Because actually, I wasn't traveling a lot in the beginning because I was too afraid to leave the shop.
Yeah.
You
I was
know?
terrified. Like, I took 3 days off last week, and someone took a shit in the parking lot, and we don't know
Right.
what to do about it.
Right.
And it's like always a crisis when you step back even for just a second. You take
Yeah.
a day off and something gets set on fire. Not literally, but you know what I mean.
Sometimes. One time our dumpster got lit on fire. Literally. Yeah. Things happen.
We all saw, by the way, Cam's knowledge of using a fire extinguisher was phenomenal. He runs up there. I'm like, look at this kid. He was running in slow motion and
There's
shit.
instructions on it.
He gets there. He goes,
He can't read.
what do I do? He almost threw the extinguisher at the fire. I think it was going to douse it. And then actually,
Adrian's trying to do spells.
Luckily, we have like 6 fire extinguishers in here. They're everywhere in here.
Dan's trying
He
to
threw
shoot it
4.
with his gun.
Yeah.
No, and then like after the fire department came and it was kind of like contained, he goes, "Does anybody smoke back here?" We're like, "No." And Bobby, one of our artists who normally comes from downtown, he goes, "No, we would never." Actually, he lit it when it was still a baby fire.
He lit
Lit
it
it
off.
back here.
He used the fire
He
to
used the
light
fire,
it.
Yeah, it was like already going down when we were talking to one of the guys. It was funny because we were watching the smoke from the front and we're like, "Holy shit, something's on fire." We were looking at it from the front for 5 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
look, it's getting worse. And then some client goes, "Yo, your dumpster's on fire." I'm like, "It's us!" Run back there.
Someone definitely sabotaged us.
Hopefully.
That's
I mean, yeah.
Hopefully.
Well, hopefully it wasn't us, is what I'm trying to say.
It was
If I
Adrian
find out
trying
one of
to
my
get
guys did
revenge.
it, I'm like, oh shit.
No, but obviously things happen. They come up, solutions, you fix it, whatever. But I'm excited for you. I hope that happens. I'll be find the manager. You build the trust. You get it, and you get to travel a little bit and do that.
Danny, our current manager, was your client.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's how we
never
found
managed a
Danny.
tattoo shop.
What do you mean?
So Danny started off as a client.
As a client?
Yeah, and now he's the best
Oh, wow,
manager
look at
ever.
that.
Yeah.
Grown up. Yeah, I never thought I'd be doing this.
I
I
gotta
was
work on my
actually in a rough
trust
spot.
issues first. for
Well,
sure.
Danny really built it slowly because we didn't like fully bring him on as a manager. He kind of just came in. We were like, yo, you want to shoot some videos? He just started shooting videos, spending time at the shop. We kind of noticed how he just vibed with everyone. Everyone kind of respected Danny, which I know like, yeah, our previous manager, like we were just venturing into like having a manager. We were testing it out.
Yeah, we went through like five managers.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But Danny just vibed with the whole crew. It was like
How did you just not like
puzzle
give up forever
piece.
and be like, I'm the manager for life?
I almost did.
I'm
I was
married to this shop.
I was like, I'm like, maybe this is unrealistic what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
You know? And I couldn't figure out if it was like the amount I was offering for pay. I'm like, maybe this is just breeds a certain kind of level of manager and I need higher. I couldn't figure out if it was like an age thing. I was like, what am I doing wrong? You know? And I don't think anything. I just think it was like, don't give up. Like, keep looking. And which is, I know it's not like,
Exhausting.
I know.
I feel like we weren't even looking for a manager in Danny when it happened either too.
It was
kind of
scary.
just
we were.
yeah.
We were.
I feel like it did kind of like happen seamlessly.
Two things, because I know people are going to ask about your setup and machines you use. So I do want to get into that, like
Okay.
where it started and where it is now. Did you start on coils?
I did start on coil. So I had this like raggedy, I don't even think it was branded, probably from China.
Nice.
Yeah. Raggedy ass coil.
Yeah.
And then my boss would sometimes let me use his Mickey Sharp.
I remember when I got my first Mickey Sharps. You don't even know what that
I
is.
heard that name
hated
before.
it.
Yeah.
I hated it. Like it would
It's heavy.
jack up my hand. Like
They had the
tiny,
brass ones too.
dainty ass little things.
Right,
And
you're like-
I complained to my boss about it once. I was like, listen, like I go home at the end of the day and like my hand is cramped up, like all this shit. And he's like, well, your career is gonna be short,
Right.
and you better get used
Here,
to it.
tattoo with this 5-pound dumbbell. You're like,
Yeah.
Tribal.
And then somebody recommended I get like a rotary. I think it was the Halo from
yeah.
FK.
Okay.
I have that tattooed on my arm because I was like the machine that saved my life.
Gotcha.
You know, I grabbed that and like I started running it and it was just crazy.
Like change tattooing for you.
Yeah, it did. And then once I switched to cartridges, because we had the traditional needles and the metal tubing and all that shit.
Yeah.
It was just like, it was nicer.
Ease of just.
It was nice to be able to like dispose of that super quick, switch them out, just click them in without like taking down your whole setup because I could only afford one machine.
Right.
You know, it was nice.
I think like nowadays too, it could be semi-useful to like new apprentices too. Like the simplicity of it now. Like you just need one rotary and all you have to worry about is getting a couple of different cartridges and then you're pretty much set nowadays.
Yeah, it's just different. Like when I first, there was something about learning how to build a machine and tune it that I feel like was really special. And I'm worried that you guys are going to miss out on that.
For sure.
Maybe it's unnecessary,
I
but
also feel like tattooing his
dude, I knew my machine so well. And it was different than anyone
You
else's.
would hear
Logan.
it sound
Logan.
just off, and you're like,
It's
"Oh,
that one.
tighten the rubber bands."
No, it was this
That's
one.
it.
Yeah. And
All right, so
we could have the same machine and mine would be different.
yeah.
Different wear and tear on it, you know, different setup. Even if the geometry was somewhat the same, like maybe your front spring's worn down more than mine. And it was this very like manual
Like
experience.
you knew your machine.
Yeah, bro. And it was intimate. And like if I'm going to run bigger lines, I'm going to tweak it. If I'm going to run skinny lines, I'm going to tweak it. And it was this personal relationship that I would build with this thing, and I like cherished it, and I would take care and I would clean even my tubes. Like I had a bunch of like 7-diamond liner tubes, and there was one that was my favorite and one that I fucking hated, kind of like laundry, you know, like, oh, I fucking hate those socks, but everything else is dirty. Like you would have these experiences. Now, my first changeover was to the Neotat. You remember those like box fucking Neo tats or whatever?
He was still rocking one of.
And I was like excited about it because you could still use like the bar needles with the grips, but it was like still this like different feel. It almost was like this more consistent, and it didn't have as much give as the springs, but it was cool to like mix and match with that. I mean, I use rotary now. Like I use Bishop. I fucking love Bishop. That's all I use. Like I just know them by like the strokes, you know. Because, like, I remember all these people are like, oh, do you use the packer, the shade? I'm like, I don't fucking know. I use a 4.2
I
stroke.
pack and shade in line with this thing. I don't know what it is.
But that was a weird transition to the pen. I remember I saw when I was working with Tyler, he used the Hawk pen and cartridges. And I, like, looked at this setup. And I was like, wow, this is such a simple setup. It's so easy to travel with. It just looked way more convenient. You know, than traveling like with all your tubes and your different coils for different things,
Power
single
supply.
coil, double coil, whatever. And like you have like 2 check bags and you're like, I hope it all makes it there safe, you know? And I'm like, oh, pen and cartridges, that's it. This is easy. And I remember I used the pen and cartridges for the first time and I was like, I can't pull a line. I was like, I suck with
You
this
like
thing.
needed the weight almost,
Bro, and at the same time, I was transitioning to the 3RL shading. Yeah, I was like trying to change too many things at once. I probably broke up with my girlfriend. I was changing where I live, 3RL, everything. You know? And I would have like my coil out, like to help. And that like really wasn't helping because like I'd kind of just fuck up your tattoo with my Hawk pen and then I would try to fix it with the fucking mag coil. And one day I was like, enough, like I want to learn this. I think it was 6 years into tattooing. And I just put the coil away and I'm like, I'm going to fucking learn how to use this dildo machine if it kills me, you know? And I think it took like 3 months for me to like be producing tattoo I actually liked. But what I did like about the rotary pen with the cartridge is like, even though I wasn't comfortable with the setup, it was always consistent. Like it really wasn't going to change like the coil would sometimes, you know, it just was what it was. And if I could like learn to master that and that it would work. And it really just put the focus on like my hand control, you know, the machine was going to be the same every time. Mm-hmm. The only variable was me. And I liked that concept and I tried to really implement it not only in the rest of my setup, but like in my booking style too, like consistency. Cause I really just use like the 3-round liner. Sometimes I'll put out like a 5 mag or a 7 mag just to help with time to build values at the end. But it's 3 caps. You know, I use a solid black, a 50% and a full water cap. I use that fucking 3RL needle, the dildo machine, and the fucking, and it's a cartridge, you know?
My favorite setups was just like 1 ink cap with triple black.
Yeah.
That's it. Just
Right.
pressure.
And because the way it looks is how it's going to heal.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? Because I used to fuck around with all of these gray wash setups and whatever, and like, oh, keep in mind it heals 3 shades lighter and like whatever, you know? And then even if it does, you got to tattoo it darker. So then the client thinks they have a darker tattoo. I don't know. It's just, you know what I mean, right?
I do.
What does your setup look like now?
Like
So
I
you
said,
got some-
just that
you got some
one
pink
big ink
stuff,
cap
right?
And a cup of water.
1 ink cap?
Just 1 big ink cap of trickle black, a
Yeah.
cup of water, and the Flux Max from FK Irons.
Yeah.
Some
See, I like
cartridges.
that.
Yeah, it's like simple. And I have like a ton of colors on the wall and they look cute, very aesthetic. But
Right.
like I rarely, like I'll just do like a pop of red sometime.
Yeah.
accent.
Like an accent, white
Splash.
highlights maybe.
Yeah.
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 What stroke is the machine you're running?
I have a 4.0.
Okay, so nice
And it's
mid
nice
range.
because you could play with the e-give. They actually just had me film a tutorial on the e-give, so I know everything about it.
Yeah. Okay.
It was a little nerve-wracking because they had the engineer in the room too, and I didn't want
Oh,
to
wow.
sound stupid.
Right.
The dude literally
Talking
designed
to-
and built it
Yeah.
right there. It's pretty good.
But it's good. Like sometimes like a highly trained professional will explain stuff in a way that like doesn't make sense to my stupid brain, you know? And I like need someone, because I had that happen with a few different products, and it took like Dan or like some other tattooer to be like, when you do this, it hits harder, and when you do this, it hits softer. And I'm like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's cool.
What's your setup look like?
Similar, like between like what I'm doing, I either do like full cap black and then a half cap, or it's just like one cap black. I feel like if you were able to like get that down, if you're able to complete a whole tattoo with just one cap of black, depending on like your pressure, I feel like you're really like introducing
The
like
technical application
Yeah,
of
like
it is
you're
perfect.
really using skill at that point. And I feel like if you're able to get that down, if you can get a really light tone with a solid cap of black and it heal light too, like there's something satisfying about that, knowing that I did like this tattoo that has this whole scale of gray in it, and knowing that you did it with just one cap of black.
Yeah.
But sometimes like me being a beginner artist, like that having that 50% cap may help me sometimes, but I like to keep it like simple too, because I'm also pretty much doing like the liner stuff also. So yeah, like pressure is a big,
The 3RL shading.
yeah, the 3RL stuff is also like your hand pressure plays a huge part in that style of tattooing, which I enjoy.
I feel like the pen helps you also just focus on that pressure.
Yeah.
Instead of just letting the machine carry that weight.
I would definitely say like, yeah, for me, like I personally learned on a rotary pen styled machine. It really just helped me dial in on just the
Yeah, because
tattoo
you can
part.
back off a little bit.
Yeah. Or like not, turn the voltage down a little bit, like hand speed also big.
Do you hang your needle or you ride shot?
I hang my needle. Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like if you can also master working off just the tip of your needle, you're setting yourself up for
Yeah.
some-
I have a phrase with Julia, is just the tip.
yeah.
Nice.
Whenever
good
we
phrase.
tattoo each other, that's what we scream at each other.
Also